Okay, I've got 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Good morning, Joe Baraka.
Here.
Paula Hodak.
Here.
Preston Shireman. Jeff Ulrich.
Here.
And Dennis Wortko.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment. There's nobody in the gallery. Is there anybody online?
Star 6 if you have a comment.
Okay, anybody on the committee have any communications? Nope. Okay, we got the minutes from June the 9th. What's your pleasure on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Employee status updates, new hires and terminations and recruitments. Nick?
All right. So under new hires, promotions, reassignments, we have two. We have Madeline Bogard on 8/3, started as behavioral health social worker. Miranda Jones, administrative assistant, and the child support started yesterday, so 8/10. Terminations, resignations, and retirements. We had Caitlin Kirchmeyer, behavioral health social worker, was with us for just under 2 years, so a year and 3/4. And she left on 6/26. Megan Norris, Corporation Counsel, her last day was July 9th, and she was with us just over 2 years. Jacob Lex, Deputy Sheriff, left on July 16th after 2 years of service. Zachary Stendal, highway operator, last day was on 7/30/2026, and Zach was with us for about 2.5 months. Luke Badamovic,
Donovan.
Forrester, was summer help for 3 years, and then a Forrester for just under 4 years, so three and 3/4 years. His last day was on 8/6/2026. Richard Petrie, Parks and Forest Technician, has been with us for 14.5 years, and his last day will be December 17th, 2026. Recruitments, mechanic, that one's been out there for about 2 months, 2.5 months. That one we are having discussions. We're having discussions at the highway department or highway committee, just to look at where that one falls. So right now, it falls within our region as under what people are calling it a mechanic, but there's been a request through that committee or that discussion to kind of look at what are we expecting of a mechanic versus more of a service tech, and if we should be looking at making a separate position called mechanic and then keeping service tech. Right now we have 3 mechanics, is what the title we call them. So we are going to continue the recruitment while we work through that process of just kind of looking at what other counties are doing, what are some options we can look at, and if there's a way to create a position that might have some certifications that could save us some money on outsourcing some of that work. Behavioral health social worker, we still have opening there. Behavioral health social worker, CLTS, CCS. Those are some of the new positions we created 2 months ago, month and a half ago at the board meeting. Those are state funded. It's always hard for us to find social workers, so those will probably be on the list for a while. Corporation Counsel, with Megan leaving, right now we outsource all of that work. So for those who are new to how we use our Corp Counsel, we have a full-time Corp Counsel on staff. About 85 to 90% of their time is spent with Health and Human Services, doing work for them, whether it's Chapter 51s, foster care, CHIPS, JIPS, all the different legal stuff we have over there. And between 10 and 20% of their time is used for ordinances, helping the board, if there's questions with parliamentary procedure, those areas. It is definitely fiscally better to have an on-staff attorney for those kind of things to utilize every day rather than outsourcing. We do still outsource quite a bit of our legal work. So anything with HR, human resources, we have a very specific lawyer that is specialized in that. So it takes a half an hour to do something instead of 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, we pay a little bit more for that person, but we actually pay less in the long run. We have a specialized person for land when there's land issues. I'm trying to think. We have about a handful of legal staff that we utilize when needed. So that one always hard to fill a corp counsel. We had Leanna was 17 years with us prior to Megan. It took us about a year to find Megan. So it may be some time. During that time, we do use our assistant corp counsel, which is Bryce Shaneborn, but he does have conflicts on some of the cases through Health and Human Services. So we've been using a gentleman out of Medford, and then also through Child Support, we use a individual out of Ashland to help out. So we have a stable of individuals that we utilize, but it is more expensive because you're paying by the hour rather than just having that salaried individual who's 24/7. And if you've dealt with Health and Human Services, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's 11 o'clock at night. You get the call because law enforcement has a situation and you have 24 hours to go to court, and you have to, it's nice to have that individual available. Deputy Sheriff, we just did interviews last week, 2 weeks ago, a Friday. So, and we have 2 more today for that. So knock on wood, we've been doing really well with those applications. What we're seeing is a lot of individuals want that smaller community feel. They still deal with just as bad as stuff. It just may not be every day. It's just every other day. So it's been working out for us. We've had some good candidates. Economic support specialist, that one's the position that we're working on through Health and Human Services. So we had individuals who worked here. They opened up 6 positions, state-funded positions that could be housed in different consortiums. Our consortium, one of the employees that worked here was hired for that position. So we then moved that person up to that position here, which opens up an economic support person here. So we didn't lose any employees. We actually gained a position that's paid for by the state locally. So that's always good for the local job market. Forester, we talked about Luke leaving. That one just opened up, so we'll give it a couple months here. Highway operator, Zach was that position, so that just opened up. Parks and Forest technician, Rich is still here, so we're beginning that recruitment process. So once he is gone, we can fill that as quickly as possible. Part-time sheriff, deputy, and part-time corrections officers. We use our individuals that we're interviewing for the full-time positions, as hopefully they may be considering part-time until there's no opening for full-time. So we're always trying to create that eligibility list. We have another program too through our jail. So if you're interested in becoming a law enforcement officer, you can come work in our jail. If you work 400 hours, whether it's part-time, full-time, we'll sponsor you through the state to become an officer, which is 19-week program, 20-week program, something like that, where we pay you to actually go to this program and become law enforcement certified, and then you'd be able to fill an opening there. So it's a really good program. They pay for all the schooling, they pay for your meals, travel, because usually it's in Rylander or Wausau, sometimes Eau Claire area, but it's a great program. We've seen it work out for a couple of our current officers. And then substitute nutrition site manager, that's just backup for meals, delivery, and or site management. Any questions on employee status updates?
On the social
Finish your
workers,
motion. No.
on the social workers, what are the requirements of that?
Down below.
So obviously we prefer you have your social worker certificate, but we do again have a program there where if you have a college education that would allow you to go get I I think it's like 5 credit class or 5 courses to get your certification. We'll hire you as an employee. You can do everything but the finalized casework. So you become a case manager. And then while you're taking those 5 classes, which we pay or reimburse you as long as you have a passing grade. So we'll pay for you to go to school to get that certificate. Then you become the social worker and can work the full case. So we do have a program for that also.
Okay. Trying to, if there's a way for someone to get in there easier.
Yep. We make it, if you have the passion to become a social worker, which is a unique passion, and we're happy to have them. They're amazing people that do the job. We'll get you there.
Create the pathway. Oh,
Yep. Just like CDLs, we work with highway individuals or forestry. We have forestry 2 CDLs. But if you don't have your CDL, but you have the passion to do that equipment and drive and work, and we will sponsor you and get you the CDL class and pay for it.
So I do have a question on the folks that are leaving, and I know that there's been some turnover since being on the board. What do we do an exit interview?
We don't do an official exit interview, but we do talk to them, and the department heads definitely know. And I would say right now, 2, 3 of these, there's not a lot of data you can get from because it's just not helpful. For example, Luke, and not to pick on him or point him out, his wife lives in a different state and is going to college for different schooling. So they've made a lifestyle choice to move to that area.
And that's absolutely
our younger crew. I would say for those who follow like how workflow is happening, a lot of people want, and we're very flexible here. They want more flexibility. They want more of that gig work. So if you haven't heard that term, it's where, hey, I know what my bills are. I'll go get enough job just to pay for that and the fun stuff I want to do, and then I can back off. And what we're seeing, and this is purely observation, I don't have like scientific, is we're seeing 26 and under, it's really hard to keep them because they're on their parents' insurance. So they're not looking at what they need to protect themselves and their family or to provide for themselves and their family, because they're going, cool, I'll go get that next gig work or that next part-time thing just to get by and enjoy. And so when you hire some of these people, it's, well, I don't need that protection of the health insurance, and I don't need, because I'm on, it's one of the, I understand why the government made 26 the limit for having insurance, but it's almost one of the worst things that could have happened for maintaining people, because they have a ton of flexibility now because they can find just enough. They're not paying that extra $300-$400 plus a deductible per month.
So there's really no themes then as far as the turnover of if we did X, Y, and Z.
No, not in this group. This group, I would say no. If I look at the last 6 months, I would say it goes back to that
insurance and flexibility.
Yeah, the flexibility, and which we are, I believe, is fairly flexible with how we schedule. Obviously, we have to have certain hours. We just did a study or a review of our health insurance. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but our average employee who's on the health insurance has been here 10 years. So if you look at the turnover, it's different than what we actually see for those who, and we have about 85% of our people take health insurance, if not more. So there is, once individuals get to that need for those extra benefits and or are providing, it's, you got the hook, right? You're there. So I don't think we're missing the boat, like, oh, we're underpaying, or oh, we're have horrible benefits, or oh, we have X, Y, or Z that we could change. That's the group that's at that age, that's how they're flexible. They want to go experiment. They want to see. They're not looking for a career. They could care less about the WRS and what that means in 30 years because they don't understand it for the first 20 years of your career. It's very difficult to understand our pension in that way.
So the other thing I'd just make a point of in being a department head and going through this stuff is, minus the forestry guys down there, if you look at those jobs, those are inconvenient hour jobs. So the operators on highway, they're coming in getting called at 3 a.m. to come plow snow at 4 all for 6 months out of the year. You got the social workers that are getting called all hours of the night. Nick just talked about corporate counsel, sheriffs again, odd hours. So a lot of it is what Nick got back to with that 18 to 26 is they're looking for quality of life, not so much career. So we've been through this for how long, right, Nick and Jennifer? I mean, it's been a thing, but I don't know as there's, like you said, exit interviews are great.
And money's not it anymore. So like for all those, like you come in and plow snow at 4 a.m. Yeah, you get time and a half. You're outside of these things.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah. And
it's not the money.
Yeah. And we made big changes not too many years ago where there's a premium from a certain time of year for that fact. So we've done those things.
Sure.
To try to promote it, but it's just the nature of the workforce right now.
And you don't even have to hit overtime to get that. It's anything outside this, 10 hours a day. So on those days you're plowing, even if you haven't hit 40, you're getting extra to be here. It's no longer, the paycheck matters. And I don't want to undervalue the paycheck matters, but it's not, oh, I needed that extra tires on my truck. I know I can work these extra 4 hours and be happy. But I wanted to be out fishing or hunting or at the amusement park. I don't know what people do. That's a good point. It's the odd hours.
Is that 24/7 service that we have to provide or
And some of the big changes we made was we added 2 additional drivers up at the highway because they were working a lot of weekends. So now people are scheduled weekends off where it's like, you're not going to get the call necessarily unless it's a horrible storm. But those are little things did help. It's just, it is a lifestyle thing.
Nick, why don't you speak, as long as you're on that, and we have some guys here that haven't been part of that, speak to the incentive program that we came up with as well.
Yeah, so we have a couple. Like I said, the outside of your 10-hour shift, you get additional. I can't remember the exact dates, November 1st to April or something. It's winter, the 26 weeks of winter, you get an extra $1.50 an hour. We've had, you get clothing allowance, you get $25 if there's a call, you get $25, which covers your gas to get in, or so you're guaranteed 2 hours worth of pay. So if that's more of like tree falls and you have to call someone in, or even snow drifting. Like sometimes it takes you 4 hours to get the snow drifts, but sometimes it takes you an hour and a half. So, but you get a guaranteed 2 hours of pay. And if it's on the weekend, it's guaranteed premium, sometimes overtime, depending on hours worked. So there's a lot of things we put in for social workers. If you work in the children and youth division, it's $1.50 extra, $2.50 extra, knowing you're dealing with a different level of clientele and time. And not that behavioral health doesn't work with difficult, but that's a little less hard on employees when it's children. Yeah, we have the perks program. So every employee throughout the county, each quarter has access to a program we call Lifestyle Perks. So if we have a list of about 30 different things that you can get reimbursed by the county. So if you take your family out for dinner and bring us the receipt, as long as there's no alcohol, if it's in county, you get 100% paid back. It's 50% if it's out. If you need clothing for work, we pay towards that. And it's a different level depending on how long you've been here. Does it start at $125 a quarter? After 6 months, you get $125 a quarter. And then after a couple of years, you get $150. And after, so like I've been here 15 years, so I get $225, I think, a quarter, or $200 a quarter. So I can go out to coffee with a friend or coworker and I can get it reimbursed. I can book a hotel for a vacation and I can get it reimbursed.
But this became a real glaring issue because it was the ones you were talking about that weren't concerned about the insurance, but they just wanted to know how to pay their Netflix and
So
those,
we do Netflix. But where we really push it is, I went to a thing and it's friction to get to work, right? We want happy employees when they get here. And what we saw was, like, during certain times, people would go through I'm struggling and I might have gained weight and then I can't afford new clothes. So then I feel bad at work. And so this was a way to say, hey, we'll help you feel better about yourself. We do salon services, so hair. It does max out. It's not like unlimited, but it got people to have a little bit more room in their life if needed to maybe relax or to maybe enjoy. Yep, some happiness. So we've saw it. The funniest thing out of all of our benefits, it's the one that we hear about every week. Somebody you bought me lunch. It's like, oh, you're welcome. It's, or oh, my family went out of town and we had a nicer dinner, or we did X, Y, or Z, and it's like, you're welcome. I'm glad. And it's like, it's that reminder where we talked, we didn't give as much of a raise that year when we implemented it, because it's not a cheap program, but it's not expensive either. When you give just a percentage, if we gave everybody an extra 0.25%, everybody's paycheck would have, or not everybody, some people's paycheck would have went up $8, some would have went up 10, whatever, the 0.25%. They see it for one paycheck and forget about it. And 2 months later, like, when am I getting a raise? When am I getting a raise? Where this is every quarter. Oh, I get this $200 again. I get this. So that's how we offset it. Yep, you didn't get as much up front or in your paycheck, but it's that every month or every quarter reminder. We have about 60% utilization. We remind employees all the time it's available, and some just like, I'm not collecting receipts. Well, then you don't get it.
And I don't have reference of all the employers in the county, but that seems like a very, very nice
A unique perk.
perk. Yes.
Yeah, I sit on a board for something else, and I'm good friends with he's a vice president of a large bank in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. And I was telling him about this. He went back and implemented. He's like, best program we ever had for employees. They have several hundred employees. They're like, their CEO left, and he wanted to make sure he got his last perks before he left. It was their CEO of a bank was worried about $300. Like, that's how these, like, the little things make a huge difference, because it's that reminder.
Well, we appreciate them.
Yeah.
And everybody that is on this, I should say on the list, that's of a new hire, whether part-time or full-time here, would be eligible for that.
Yep. And
With
so
the
if you're
prorating
part-time,
and
yep,
time
prorated
steps.
if you're
Yes.
part-time.
Okay.
There's a whole list. I'll have to ask her about it.
Yeah.
And it's not everything. Like, every year we get requests, like, I bought hunting ammo. It's like, that's not on the list.
No.
Like, we'll do your hunting license.
You
We'll help you get your license, but we won't get your ammo.
and you
Can I get a
have-
fishing rod? No, but you can rent a canoe to go out in to go fishing.
and you have to put guardrails on that.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we had to clean it up because we say subscriptions. You can get subscriptions. So like somebody put like the New York Times, or I don't know, it was some games or New York Wordle or something. And I was like, hold on a second. We need to put a guardrail on here that no adult content. So,
Sure.
because that's a subscription and I really don't want to know.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. If you want.
Thank you.
I think we've moved into 4, so I'm covering us that we're still on agenda. We can talk about employee benefits.
Okay.
Yes,
that
thank you for that update.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Employee benefits for 2027, health insurance.
Yeah, so going back to just employee benefits, that perks is one of them, so that's under voluntary. But health insurance, right now, for 2027, we're looking at making very few changes. We do see a little bit of a possible change in the employee premium. Right now, it's not a lot compared to the market, and in order for us to align a little bit more with benchmarks, we're going to start moving that premium that the employee pays towards a little bit more of the benchmark. I don't know what that'll be, but it's nothing. We're not going from $150 a month to $600. That's not the intent. So we're working with our broker right now on what the premium and deductible and all those will look like. The deductible will be going up. I believe it's 250 or 500. I can't remember, but we're going up by the federal minimum in order to be HSA eligible. So otherwise we fall out of HSA eligibility. So we do, the Fed raised it. So we have to to raise that deductible to hit the high deductible plan. Just a kind of a brief of our 2026, and this is why we can do very little movement with our 2027 benefits. But from January from January to June 2026, the medical health plan is operating at a surplus, so we're self-funded. We're at 162,000 approximately for that first half of the year, which is great. That's how we can not have to move so much. The average enrollment for 2026 is 124 employees and 337 belly buttons. So each employee has dependents, we call those belly buttons, which is 4.5% above the prior year, yet we're having a better year. So that's good to hear. Tailored family care. So we pay 100% of anybody's visits at Tailored, and it doesn't go against your deductible or premium, or deductible, I guess. So if you go to Tailored, we figure it saves us between $1 and $3 on our self. So like if I go to a clinic, it costs about 3 to 5 times more than it does if you go to Tailored, and we pay 100%. So that's why we've chosen to do those near side walk up clinics. So our monthly claims for 2026 are approximately 15,000 compared to 2025, which was 9,000. So we're seeing a lot more utilization. So say we're spending $5,000 more a month there, we believe we're saving about 15,000 on that approximately. And they also do our care navigation, which is if Nick needs an MRI, instead of going, like say I went to a clinic here, if they go, oh, you need an MRI, they're going to send me to their MRI, and we don't even look at price, right? The employee just goes, okay, I need an MRI, I'm going to go to your MRI. What Taylor does is go, you're going to need an MRI, let's use this app, which we are part of, and we're going to get you the most reasonable deal to go towards your deductible. So we're seeing like an MRI could cost you normally $3,500. There are certain MRIs, if you're willing to drive to Wausau, are $650. So not only did the employees save a bunch on their deductible, if they were already at their deductible, we would have saved a significant amount. So with that program, we reimburse the employee up to 25% or 25% of the savings, the difference in there's a program that says, here's what you could go to. It's the highest. Here's what the lowest. If you choose the lowest, there's say a $3,000 savings. We'll give you 25% of that up to $5,000. So we've saw it's almost $100,000 in savings already through that program. This is the first year we've had it, so it's new. Where you see the biggest ones is if somebody needs a knee or a shoulder, that could cost you $100 to $120 through the highest cost one. We're seeing 40 to 60 on those who just do that as a regular. So that saves us a significant amount of money. Through June, there are only 2 members over 50% of our specific deductible, which is $120,000 this year. One person has surpassed the deductible with a cancer diagnosis and is projected to generate approximately $34,000 in return. So not return, stop loss return. So we will pay the first $120,000 of that person's care, and then everything over that we get reimbursed. So we still have to pay it out of pocket, but then we see it come back as a check within 6 to 9 months.
Mhm.
So last year we had, I think, 5 or 6 people hit our stop loss. This year we're at 1.5. So doing well. The gross cost per end of the 124 is 27,519, which is 5.8% below prior year. So all the things we're doing has saved us about 5.8%, which is good. You don't normally see that when you have health care.
Mhm.
So that's how we're hopefully managing health insurance for next year. For the premiums, you as a committee will have to set those premiums and deductibles at one of your future meetings before November. So it'll probably be at your October meeting in order for us to do open enrollment. So we'll bring actual numbers back of what those requests would be and what the program. But right now, the only change, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the voluntary benefit, would through the health insurance would be we're looking at removing the free vision checkup. So right now through our health insurance, we provide one vision checkup, but we're looking at changing our vision provider. So we have a dental and vision provider that if we remove the vision from the health and then individuals can choose whether they want to go on the vision, it's actually quite reasonable. That would save, I can't remember what they said. It was like 40 to 60,000 in our health insurance. So it's a pretty good change. I don't quote me on that exact number, but there is a significant savings by doing it through the voluntary benefits. So going on to voluntary benefits, we currently work with Allstate and a gentleman named Tucker. We have been working with our broker to look at some alternatives to Meritus and Allstate are the two programs we use through Tucker to get voluntary benefits. It looks like right now we're better. We're looking at switching to a company called Samartra and Delta Dental. So we've had a lot of requests from employees to get away from the Meritus and go to the Delta Dental. It's 100% paid for by the employee. This is the first year that when we went out to Delta and said, hey, can you quote us a like program, that it actually came in close, or actually in this case slightly less than Emeritus. So we've been grandfathered in on an Emeritus plan for the last 15 years, 10 years, whatever. It's been a long time that no increase has happened over that time for the vision and dental. So we're able to lock in, I think it was 2 or 3 years with Delta, and employees are looking for that. I think a lot of it's in the name brand. It's a local or a Wisconsin product. Delta is where Emeritus was always cheaper. We had no in-network dental services here, so you'd go to the dentist, you'd get 3 cleanings a year, but you'd still pay about $13 for a cleaning each time. So you ended up paying about $40 per person on the plan throughout the year. With Delta, they're considered in-network. So there was always like, oh, we could pay a little bit more and then you wouldn't have that. However, the gap was too big until this year is the first year. Now, my concern is that are they buying the product or buying our employees like, oh, cool, we'll do it for that price for 2 years. And then on the third year, here you go, employees, there's a big jump. So that is one thing we're still working through, and just how that might look. Because Emeritus has been very good to us with premiums for the last 10 years. So those are for vision and dental, we are looking at Delta. If we don't, Emeritus is I think it is the exact same price going into next year. The other product that we do is life insurance and long-term disability, short-term disability through Allstate, and we allow, and we do an accident insurance. We allow, that's a voluntary, it's 100% employee paid, but it comes out of your paycheck if you choose to. The life insurance, it's a like product. There's not, most of those companies are pretty much alike. There would be, a guarantee of $150,000 that can be issued to anybody without the medical. There's a maximum of $500,000. It's again, same like product. The short-term disability, that one we're still kind of reviewing, because we do have a program through the state, through the ETF that, it's called income continuation, where for 1 year you can get your income. It's free for all employees if you sign up. Most of our employees sign up for that. So short term is not necessarily a huge benefit to employees, but we would offer it as a package. The voluntary long-term disability, again, like product. Accident insurance. So we have a product called accident insurance, where if you were to have a major accident or issue, if you have this, they would pay you a certain amount of money per day or per incident to help offset your deductible. We have quite a few people do that, because when you go get your checkups, you get $100 reimbursement towards it. So in the end, your premium you're paying is very, very little to have additional coverage to help you in those major situations. This one does look a little bit nicer than the current one we have. You get a little bit more back. It's a little cheaper on the premium. So that one overall looks good. And then we have a hospital indemnity, which I believe is new. We don't currently have that. So the reason I'm bringing up the whole package is if we move the whole package to C&B, which is our current broker, we do get a discount on what we pay to have them be our health insurance broker. So by time we sign up, move everything to a little bit better package or like package for most of our stuff, we actually as a county would save additional money. So that's another reason we're considering it. But with that savings, one question I have is, do you as a committee want us to look at, they've proposed group life insurance. So we currently do not have a product that covers employees. So some of you who work for private employees might have this where it's like, if you were to die while still employed, your family would receive X dollars, whether it's one times income or sometimes it's just increments of money. So
Don't they have that through the WRS?
not that
When I
we're-
was working, we did.
we don't have
Hmm.
life through that. So with this whole package, Cunningham Butler did quote us group life insurance. So the benefit would be $10,000 per employee. If something were to happen, it doubles if there was an accident type thing. And it would cost the county $982. So it's not a ton of money to add that benefit for all employees. I did ask them for what it costs for increments because 982 is not a lot. $10,000 is great for a family to help with burial or whatever. But if depending on, we'll bring options. Maybe 50,000 is a better. After 50,000, there's a whole bunch of tax issues. But is it 20? Is it 25? What's the amount? So right now we know it's $982 to offer this to every employee for the year at $10,000. And if we were to implement this whole package, we actually save, I think it was like 3% of our, we get a one-time credit of $5,000 and then 3% ongoing. So we would actually cover this cost of this new product and still saves a couple $1,000 as a county. So that's why I'm bringing it forward for consideration. If it's something you want me to keep looking into. If I keep looking to it, I bring it to this committee, we'd have to add it to the handbook to make it a product that we would offer. It would fit in the budget because we'd be reducing our costs in other areas to put this product forward. Thoughts on group life insurance?
I don't think it's a bad thing to have, and especially if it's not going to cost us anything from a budgetary perspective.
Right. It costs us $1,000.
I know,
but
but we're
there's
gonna be
other
saving money.
savings. Yeah.
And I realize that may not be what attracts a new employee, but it is something nice to have down that road. Absolutely. Can I ask some questions about vacation and stuff? Is that okay? Sure. Okay. So folks earn PTO or vacation time. Is it kind of an accrued process of X number of hours of vacation per hours worked based off of years of tenure?
A little bit. So we don't do PTO. So we have vacation separate from sick.
Okay.
With the vacation, you get it. We've changed it quite a bit. So when I first started, when a lot of tenured people first started, you didn't get any vacation for the first year. And then on your first anniversary, you got your accrued vacation. So throughout the year in the background, you're gaining your first week or 2 weeks of vacation. And then on your anniversary, you receive it. We've now expedited that. So upfront, I think you get 2 weeks, 10 days after pretty much when you start, you get 10 days, 90 days. So be here 3 months, you get your first 2 weeks, you can start using it. Then on your first anniversary, you'd get your next vacation dump and you get a whole year to use it. You get a 90-day carryover, no banking of it. So it's use it or lose it.
Okay.
There's in our handbook, it says each year, and you get number of days based on hours you work. Cause we have some employees that are 7.5. We get a max of 8 hours for the number of days. So like, even though you might work a 12-hour shift, you're still only get 8 hours worth
A vacation.
of vacation. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a built into your cost of doing business, there's a vacation bank. Because, you know, if everybody has 80 hours of vacation time built up at X number of dollars an hour times X number of employees, that's so many dollars that are built into the budget someplace.
Kind of. So when we budget, like if I look at an office, I go, okay, there's 3 employees. Those 3 employees, if they did all 2,088 hours, whether it's vacation or working,
Mhm.
this is what it costs. So we don't have like a vacation cost outside because we budget 100% of that.
It's part of the
employee.
fringe anyway that's
Yeah.
being built into it.
It's part of their wage, so
Yeah.
it's under wage line.
And then sick time?
Sick time, you get 1 day a month. So you get 12 a
12
year. That can be banked up to 640 hours. After that, it's paid out at 50% if you have over 640 at the end of the year, which takes 7 years to get. We only have 15, 20 people that have made it to that. A lot of people use it,
Sure.
which that's what it's there for, right? You hurt yourself, you have a sick kid, whatever, you use it, but it is bankable up to 640.
Okay. So it's
And then if you were
56 hours a year, 12 days.
12 days a year, yeah. That one also is payable if you leave on good terms. So say you bank 640, you gave your proper notice, you had no issues, you would get paid out 50% of that. 15 years of service
15,
Yeah.
okay.
or salaried individual.
So does any of that sick time, so let's say we go with the long-term or short-term disability, is your premium different if I have 640 hours of sick time built up because you're not going to be paying out as much?
Those people probably wouldn't take the short term. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, that's where it's the employee needs to understand what they currently have, what they're doing. Because that, my understanding, this was before my time
Mhm.
when they set up those things, but my understanding is the reason they allowed 640, that was meant to you creating your own short term.
You're banking on, you're
Yeah.
making your own. Okay.
And the hard part where we see that struggle is I've been here 3 years and I end up having a child. But now we have maternity paternity leave where we give you 4 weeks of paid leave that doesn't affect your sick or vacation. So that actually, for those who are newer to the job, they automatically get 4 of the 12 weeks that they would be eligible for, paid for, which is a huge bump, right? That would take a lot of years to bank up.
Absolutely.
So what they did bank up in their first 2-3 years maybe gets them to 7 or 8 weeks of paid rather than just 3 weeks. So that was a big benefit. 3 years ago we put that in, 2 or 3. No, it must have been more than that. 4. I don't know. Either way, but we do have maternity paternity leave.
Thank you.
So based on the head shaking, keep looking at the group life benefit as one of our voluntary benefits.
Do you need a motion for that?
No, I just,
Okay.
as long as there's not a bunch of nay or like like I don't believe in group life insurance. Yeah. The last thing I have on here is employee benefits fair. So we started this last year. It was very successful. We invite all of our voluntary benefits, our broker, Tailored, a couple other people into this room, and they set up tables. Our HSA, yep, they all set up tables. And on October 21st, last year was on October 22nd, this year 21st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and they meet with employees. So it's no pressure. Last year we had probably 50, 60, 70 employees show up, ask questions, meet the providers. Our deferred comp person was here. It worked out really well. It's nice for those employees who want to understand some of their benefits a little bit better. And then we also, during open enrollment in November, we do a mandatory meeting for all employees, whether you take the health insurance or not. You have to sit through the program to say what our benefit is, how to utilize it. And that's where we educate individuals on like the Health 360 and why it's important because we're self-funded, and why you should be going to Tailored, and how it's important to help us all manage those costs rather than just set it and forget it kind of thing, and how there is a choice and where you go and why it's important. The last thing I forgot with one of our benefits, we do with Tailored. So we pay 100% of it. And this year, and looking forward to next year, we are going to do it, is if you get your annual physical, the county gets no information. It's not a bio testing. It's not anything like that. It doesn't go to our broker to help us do our insurance, which would be extra helpful, but we don't do that. We're not doing that. You get $125 towards your HSA. So up to 2 members in your, you and your spouse, 2 adults in the household. So if I get my annual physical, it puts $125 towards the HSA. So the county contributes to my HSA in that way. We've seen a lot of people do it, which then introduces you to Tailored, which then you go, wow, this place is really nice and it's comfortable. And if I have that small thing that I can just run over there and get fixed, I didn't have to drive to Medford. I didn't have to drive to Park Falls. I now, like, for example, I did my physical. I walked over there. I was there for 45 minutes. And I walked back. I didn't have 2 hours of driving, maybe a meal out, all these extra things, lost production for a half a day or a full day, because a lot of people make a day of it because you're going out of town. Now we're seeing people run over there, get it done, and come back to work. So that's been a huge benefit, is introducing them and keeping people here, saving up their sick time for when they actually need it. Any last questions about our employee benefit? If anybody wants to sit through all the meetings, we do weekly, monthly health insurance meeting, brokerage meetings that are very in depth. I'm not actually inviting you because they're long and interesting, but we do a lot of work with our broker. They earn their keep to advise us, and like I said, we've been doing really good with our self-insurance over the last couple of years, and that a lot has to do with broker guidance and not just agreeing with us and going, yeah, sure, if that's what you want to do, we'll do it. They push back. They make sure we're doing not what the employee wants, but what's best for the employee and the employer.
That it?
Sure.
Okay, 2027, what the wage increase?
Yeah, so I just put this on here so that you guys are aware. Right now, we put the assumption of 2%. So how our wages work is we have a wage scale. And so really it's not individual wage, it's the wage scale increase. So we have a scale that says, here's the market and what do we want the market to be? We made that market 2% more going into the budget, and then that affects every step forward and backward. So if you go above market, it's 1% increase. So it's like a longevity pay. If you're below the market, so we're hiring you on, but we're still training you, we're getting you efficient, we're making sure you're getting to what a marketed individual for that skill set would be, you get it's a 2.5%. So really, if you start 5 steps below market, which is our lowest, every year you'd get a 2.5% longevity or market, or not, it's a 2.5% increase towards market, plus you would get what this is. So say it's 2%, you'd actually get a 4.5% increase throughout the year. If you're above market, you'd get the 2% because the scale moved. Everybody gets that at once. Usually it's in April. And then when your anniversary hits, you get that additional 1% for longevity. So you'd actually get a 3% throughout the year. So we looked at 2% in the budget. If you sit on executive, you'll see we're about $700,000 over budget. So it's something we got to still be working on. But that is the assumption we used, is little to no for health insurance increase, and then cost wise, and 2% for wages. Any concern with 2%? Is that where we should start? Obviously, that's a full board decision on where the budget ends, but we like to have just some guidance to start with. Last year we did 0%, so everybody still got their steps. So if you were below market, you got 2.5. If you were above market, you got 1%. Union gets a different rate that's negotiated. So last year you had 0 market change for our wage scale, which starts to have either others catch up to us or puts us a little bit behind what the market would be. This year we're looking at 2, which keeps us up with surrounding counties, hopefully.
So yeah, like I said, I think we have to do some kind of, not like last year with a 0, because we're gonna fall behind like we did a lot of big changes like we talked about, and the reason for the big changes is because we kind of got behind. So, yeah, I think 2% is a good starting point to see where we're at in budget, especially with the steps of being, everybody will at least get a 3. And the 3 is the magic number. That's always been the magic number throughout the course of time, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm in favor of that as a minimum. Yeah.
And just to clarify, because I don't want to say everybody gets the 3. Some people, if we only did 2, would get 2 because we have a handful of individuals that when we redid the whole scale, they were off our scale. So we have market plus 5 steps or 6 steps. Yeah, we have a total of 10. So whichever way it goes. But we had individuals that were, when we looked at the market, they were off the scale. And that came through union negotiations, that came through random committees going, oh yeah, that job needs to be $3 more it's all, pre all this stuff. So if you were here for a long time, you may be off the scale. So slowly through attrition, we've gotten everybody on the scale. There are some people that are starting to hit level 10, so there would be no 1%. But we're still, in general, the majority, the vast majority would get 3% or more.
So thanks for the clarification on that. How many employees are we talking about that are hitting their step 10? So the thing
Yeah, we can look that up.
the thing that I get, we're talking about keeping people in longevity. And then we have people that are at longevity and they're at that step 10. I don't want to lose sight that we want to keep that experience. So that may be something to look at down the road.
Yep.
Is if it's a significant number of people, or even not, if it's those people that we want for that mentoring,
Yeah.
the next people coming up, I don't want to lose sight of them. So just keep that in the back of the mind of possibly looking at doing something with
Yeah,
that.
Prior to our current wage scale, our previous wage scale, we had some of that where we actually added 3 steps on the top so you could go a little farther. So that, again, I don't think we have a ton of that situation, but I agree. If it does become like, oh my gosh, we're retaining people left and right, and we got all these 20-year employees, yeah, we need to be doing something. Right now, because of when we adjusted it, even if you had 20 years experience, some individuals went below the market. We had to get them at least to market. So we had 5 to 7 years to figure out the high end. But yeah, yep, we'll watch that.
Any other questions?
Nope. I mean, you guys can have, I have no more.
Okay. Artificial intelligence policy.
Yeah, so part of this committee, they're responsible for our handbook. We currently have an AI policy that's very, very old in AI world technology. So we put in a policy 3-4 years ago when we first started working or hearing about AI. And I think it's up to you guys, but I think it's time that we review it and update it. The problem is when I look at other counties and their AI policies, they're like 6 pages long. So, because it's a very unique product for moving forward. So right now it literally says, don't use it unless you have explicit permission. What we need to continue is, that same thing is we want to make sure IT and management knows who's using it, when they're using it, how they're using it, but also how do you guys want us to use it? So I've collected a couple policies, but again, they're very robust. And so do you want to update it? And if yes, I can start, or our staff will start working on something.
So when you say AI, what I think of Copilot in email. Is that a in scope, on a scope?
Yeah. So ChatGPT, Claude, all of those products, Copilot. Right now, we don't promote individuals using any of those products because it's really expensive for corporate licenses. So right now, I think we have 3 licenses, and those licenses are held by myself, TJ, and one other one. I think Melissa might have. I don't remember. We either have 2 or 3 products, but it's like $36 a month per person. Mm-hmm. And so TJ and I are kind of the test pilots. Like, is this something that we could actually be using? Obviously, it's not for everybody. How and when do we decide to start spending $600-700 an employee to have access to this product, because you got to really up production in order to. We don't have the ability just to raise our budget, start covering $600-700 an employee. Chat GPT, again, we are very explicit. Don't be using it, and especially don't be putting personal protected information in it. So that's part of our policy is do not put names, do not put social security, don't put anything that could be out there forever, because we don't have the protected product. There's only we only have one paid subscription to the chat GPT, whatever,
Yeah, you got it.
GPT
Yeah.
right now. And so again, that one we're just utilizing amongst the one person. We work with that one person to say, okay, how's this work? What's this doing? Is it worth using? At what point do we look at maybe licensing for certain spots? We have not implemented any AI into like our website or things like that. Again, it's really cost prohibitive at this time for government, because it's not like, oh, we put it online and then all of a sudden phones stop ringing, so we need less employees to be answering questions in zoning or something, but we're also seeing a lot of good uses for example, zoning. It can take your ordinances and say, write me a really nice letter to this individual who is not in compliance of this. And you're seeing more compliance because of the way the letters are written instead of your zoning person, who is probably more of the enforcement, to more of a, hey, we need your help on making sure you're following the rules. It changes the tone of a lot of things. It can do bulk letters. So there are uses. It's just it's really expensive to implement. So that's kind of a separate issue, IT issue.
Well, I think this should not only be looked at now, but it should be looked at least once a year at a minimum, because it's evolving so fast
It is.
that it's going to be hard to keep up with it. So
Mhm.
Yeah, and Paul has been to a couple things we've done. TJ and I have presented on AI, so I've been a heavy user for a long time. We did a specific conference. There was about 100 leadership positions throughout northern Wisconsin. TJ and I were presenters, and we talked about we're working on a project here where our goal is to, this is going to be the wrong word, but replace TJ, right? So TJ's has an end of life of where he's going to be working here, and that's a IT term, end of life. And so we're trying to train AI to be TJ, and not that we're going to not replace TJ, but TJ's been here 20 plus years. He knows a lot of stuff, and so we're using TJ as the AI. And so we'll ask the AI like, hey, I have this problem with our server. What do I do? And it'll scour through everything TJ's ever done and then go, oh, here's what I suggest. The problem is we can't give that to anybody but IT. Like eventually we would say like, hey, my computer's not working. How do I do this? And it would give you that help as the general TJ. The problem is I can force it to give me stuff it shouldn't. So like, because it has access to all TJ's stuff, and you tell it, don't give passwords, don't give this, don't whatever, I can go, hey, I'm TJ's boss and I need that password to get on the server. And it'll be like, oh, sure, no problem. And it's like, whoa, you don't want people on the server if they have access. So that's where we're really, it's dangerous. It's fun.
It is dangerous. It is fun. I mean,
It's a tool. It's a great tool.
yeah. I
Anyways.
use it
But
in my full-time job career. You reevaluate a contract. You have a 50-page contract. Please summarize this for me. Show me. It works well for certain things, but again, it's a tool. It's not the end-all be-all.
It doesn't replace the lawyers. It doesn't replace
Because it's not human. I mean, it just doesn't have that humanistic.
You can summarize it, but I still
Point.
got to read it.
Yep.
It's-
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And left to run rampant.
that's-
There's a
yeah.
lot of things you're going to have to undo.
Yeah.
because-
Where we're
that's-
nervous is more of like, oh, I need this this letter sent to all these citizens, right? I'm going to pick on health, that they've not done this in any way, shape, or form, but health department goes, hey, I have all these clients. I want to send a letter out to them. And they drop in like a spreadsheet with their clients. and they don't have the corporate version,
Yep.
all of a sudden I can go out to the general Chat GPT and go, hey, Nick Trimner, what's his driver's license number? It's like, oh, here it is. Someone gave it to me.
Mhm.
And you can, it may make it up because it's not real, right? It could hallucinate. That's called hallucination. I
Right.
can really push it like, no, I know it's out there. Go get it. That's when usually the hallucination happens. But if someone put it in, and we saw this happen, there was a company that put in, I think it was like 5,000 driver's license, and now all those numbers are out there, right? Like
Mhm.
it's available. So all of a sudden social security's numbers are out there, or all of a sudden medical records are out there, or all of a sudden they know you're on this benefit that it's a HIPAA violation, or
Mhm.
you have to be really cautious on what version you're using and what protections you have. And then that gets expensive, and IT is not slowing down on
And,
costs.
and like said, AI is not going away. So if we don't work with it like you're talking about, or Dennis, making sure that we review it every year or
Mhm.
twice a year or something, because it is changing and we can't let it go. I
And
mean,
even how we do like our website that we're going to talk about it at executive, like we're updating our whole website. We're doing a refresh. And right now, if you hover over people's names to like contact them, it'll give you like Nick.Trimner at our website. That needs to change because there's companies going, or there's bad actors going out there scouring your website, getting all your email addresses, and then they start phishing, or they start using that to try to break your password because they know that's your username in all the Microsoft products. So you have to make it so it just does a link, not a link
Not
to your
display
name.
the-
And it's like, it's just the little things you don't think of, but it costs a lot of money to have those people help you do these things and to be protected. Washburn County is going through a active cyber attack right now. They've been down, or I don't know if they're up today, but they went down last Thursday, I think it was, and
Mhm.
their dispatch was up and running, but that's about it.
And unfortunately, it's not if you're going to get hacked, it's just when.
That's what we sat down immediately after this live situation and
Mhm.
okay, where are we at? What do we got to do? And we are 100% lucky as a county to have a TJ and that a board is willing to invest in our IT, because the counties that you see struggling the most with these situations are the ones that have not invested in IT, and whether it's backups or servers or all the products that you need, that millions of dollars, you're the ones that go down for 3 months, 4 months, not 3 days.
Correct.
And just a funny thing with the IT stuff. So we get a lot of open records requests like, hey, I need every product you use in your server, and what the brand is. And it's like, denied. You can take us to court if you really want to know on that one,
Right.
because we're pretty sure you're just trying to see where our holes are and what products. So we're very protective of some of that information.
Mhm.
That it?
Yeah, so we'll work on that for the next couple meetings and get you guys. I'll use AI to write an AI.
I was just going to
I'm
say, use
kidding.
Copilot to make a summarized version of all the
I'm
rest of
kidding.
them.
We might summarize, but we'll make the policy first. Yeah.
Next meeting date is scheduled for September the 8th. If nobody has anything, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.